Hello. You join me in a very hot Biggleswade in Bedfordshire. My dashboard says it's 26 degrees outside. It always says it's a bit higher when the truck's been sitting there for a bit, but it's certainly very hot. I've got the aircon on low, so if it sounds a bit blowy, that's what it is. No choice today, I'm afraid. I'm driving a DAF XF 480 trusty steed.
At the roundabout,
I've got a
second exit.
Thank you. I've got a full frozen load, or thereabouts. It's all frozen. I've just completed my first drop of the day. Now, the time's actually 11:45. It's taken some time to get that first one tipped.
Roundabout, take the second exit to Pegasus Drive.
I arrived there at 9:30 a.m. and I'm only just leaving. So 2 hours 15 in total. I wouldn't normally mind, but I do need to get back to the yard at a decent time today. But fortunately in this job,
At the roundabout, take the first exit to Pegasus Drive.
you can't rely on your finishing times. It's the curse of the day driver. You finish when you're finished. With all the best intentions, you're at the mercy of your delivery points and traffic and so on and so forth. Most annoying of all is the fact I only had 2 pallets for that place. So an average speed of 1 hour 12.5 minutes per pallet. It's not great, is it? Anyway. So I'm now on my way to my second drop, which is not too far away. It's in Bedford. So from here I'm going to get back on the A1, but then I'll peel off it and go the back way into Bedford. And I will follow my sat-nav on this one. I know where I'm going, but I always have my sat-nav running, and unless I've got a good reason not to, I
Roundabout, take the second exit to Pegasus Drive.
usually do as it suggests. I do sometimes vary it if I just want to go a different route. Or I don't trust what it's saying about road closures, because it's had a bit of a habit recently of saying a road's closed when it's not, which is weird. And unhelpful, obviously.
At the roundabout, take the second exit to Pegasus Drive.
So, if I get sent the route I think I will, we'll go right through Bedford town centre. Go in, mate. Yep, go on then. Now, it's been a little while since I filmed
Take the first
last.
exit to London Road.
Well, that's not quite true, actually. It's been a little while since I put a video out. I actually brought my cameras with me and did some filming last week on a day when I was down in Bristol.
At the roundabout, take the third exit to A1.
I wasn't going to film the whole journey and down the M42 and the M5 because that's just boring. So I made a decision to film sort of the approach into my delivery point in Bristol, because it's a really attractive route along the A4. I think they call it the Portway. Oh, there's a lovely old, is it a Vauxhall? There it is. Yeah, I think it's called the A4 Portway, and you go under the Clifton Suspension Bridge and also along the river. I suppose it's the River Avon. It's absolutely fantastic. So I'd pulled over for a quick toilet stop at the fantastic Gloucester services. I was going to set my camera up at that point, but the DVSA were there doing spot inspections, and even though I had nothing to hide, of course, didn't particularly want to get waylaid with such, and so I made a sharp exit after I'd had my toilet stop. So I didn't set up the camera, and I decided to film leaving Bristol, and I went on a route through Bristol city centre. It's quite interesting, but I was just having a nightmare with the camera sliding everywhere. So the camera I used to film in the cab here and record the sound, I've been trying to find a knack of sort of placing it in a way that, you know, films what I want to film and stays where it's supposed to, and that's been quite difficult, but I've engineered a first-class solution using a mount and a few other bits and bobs, so it absolutely will not move now. Well, it says that. So you should have a nice steady ride. I'm going to close the window because that's going to be blowing and making a racket, I imagine. Oh, I've got a draft coming through. Great. There's a small trim piece missing on this particular vehicle and on a few of the other DAFs, where the windscreen finishes. It's like a rubbery, plasticky seal. They tend to pop off, and you get this drafty noise. I don't know if the microphone's picking it up, but it's flipping annoying. So anyway, I started filming on the route through Bristol. I was going through the Bristol city centre, but unfortunately the camera was just sliding around, and obviously I just gave up on it. Basically, I thought I couldn't stop and sort it out, so I just aborted. It was a safe thing to do, and by that time I'd got so cheesed off with it I didn't really want to talk to the camera anyway. So I'm in good spirits because the sun's out. Right, okay, so the temperature's settled. Now I've got moving. It says 22 degrees. That sounds about right. Lovely, lovely day. Driving the truck at the moment, it's just been a nightmare of bug splatter. I suppose as all the plants come out, as do the bugs, and they end up getting smushed on the front of the cab and on your windscreen. So it's a nightmare keeping your windscreen clean. But I gave the front of the cab a bit of a wash with a bucket of water and a broom this morning, so cleared a load of the bug spatter off in the interim, but it will be mucky again later. Very small price to pay for this glorious weather. Okay, so it looks like the sat-nav is sending me a different way. I think we're perhaps going up to the Black Cat and along the 4 to 8, where we'll probably peel off and go in the back way there. Anyway, well, let's just wait and see, shall we? It's a lovely day. I don't really mind. Except for my annoyance that my timings are now all out because of the wait at that first drop. absolutely sod's law when you're wanting to get back at a decent time. And I say to my wife, oh no, yeah, I should be back on time tomorrow, yeah. And whenever you say that, that's when it goes wrong. We're doing some very long shifts recently, which I don't mind at all. It's tiring. And it does mean you've got no evening times, but because my wife has a commitment on Tuesday evenings, it really is much better if I can get back in time.
There is currently light traffic on your route.
Yes, I bet there is. That's my sat nav telling me there is, quote, light traffic in 4.5 miles. Okay, so it's sending me on the Black Cat. You see, sometimes it sends me up here, the A603. Nah. Sat nav usually knows best. We'll go with it.
At the roundabout, take the second exit lane 1.
You won't be surprised to know that on board my trailer today and over the past few days, I've had a lot of ice cream. The supermarkets and so on are obviously getting their orders in for, well, you know, while this weather's nice. I suppose we're moving to that season anyway. Where I work from is a cold store facility, stores frozen products on behalf of customers, and when their customers place orders, they're dispatched from this storage facility, and I take them, me and my colleagues and all the hauliers. In terms of things I wanted to talk about today, one aspect was annoying things that cars do when you're driving a lorry and things that are dangerous, and how car drivers can better behave around trucks to make things safer for everybody, very much including themselves. The first thing I wanted to highlight ties in with a campaign that Highways England, I think it is, are running at the moment, an awareness campaign. I've seen adverts in motorway service stations, things like that, talking about the blind spots on articulated trucks. Well, probably all trucks, but particularly articulated trucks like this. So I'm driving an Arctic, so a tractor unit and a full-length trailer. "44-ton maximum gross weight," like that one, like that rebordle that's past us there. Now, trucks have several blind spots. It's slightly, not totally, but slightly different for me driving these DAFs that have mirrors instead of, have cameras instead of wing mirrors, which doesn't completely eliminate the blind spots, but it does mitigate them, I would say. I'm going to do a separate talk another time about the relative merits between mirrors and cameras, because a lot of people have got strong opinions about it, but actually I think the discussion is a bit more nuanced. But let's ignore the fact we've got any mitigation here and just talk about the blind spots. So for a start, quite simply, if you're right behind
Take the second exit
my truck, I can't see you at all. So if you imagine a triangle shape coming out from the back of my truck, if you're in that triangle, I can't see you. It's as if you're not there. And that is whether we're moving and you're behind me, or whether we're in stationary traffic or whatever. If you're right behind my bumper, I cannot see you. It's as if you're not there at all. So therefore, I can't adapt my driving to, accommodate you or anything. It's as if you're not there. Now, the other two blind spots are down either side, and it's quite difficult to explain, but they're sort of maybe isosceles triangle shape. I don't know. Triangle shapes down the side. Now I'm going to try and put up the National Highways graphic on screen that demonstrates where these blind spots are. And let me tell you, they are real. And thankfully, I've not come a cropper because of these blind spots, but I have been in situations where I've gone to move out into another lane, and last second seen a car that for all intents and purposes wasn't there. Now, what can you do about this? Now, you can't eliminate that hazard at all. Obviously, it's incumbent on me, the driver of the large goods vehicle, to make checks and look at all my mirrors and available information and out my windows, which is what I did to prevent an accident in this particular case. And I saw a small car, a little Toyota Aygo or something, just by my door here, and for all intents and purposes it was invisible. But the most important thing car drivers can bear in mind, and motorcyclists and vans, whatever, is don't hover around in those blind spots. Obviously you have to enter those blind spots if you're going to overtake or go past, but don't hover in them, because if you're hovering in those blind spots, you're invisible. And if we can't see you, it's as if you're not there. Which is why I think this Highways England campaign is very, it's useful and important. I feel like it should be in the driving theory test. Maybe it is now, I don't know. Should be in the driving theory test for car drivers and motorcycle riders to know a lorry's blind spots, because it's so important. Just stay out of them, and if you enter those blind spots, leave them as quickly as possible. Help us to help you, because there's no lorry driver on earth that wants to be involved in an accident. It'll almost always be the car that comes off worse, but no lorry driver wants to be involved in an accident, obviously. So that's blind spots. The second thing I wanted to talk about, car drivers, is, so if you're in a busy, or any busy road, but I'm particularly talking about dual carriageways and motorways. If I'm driving a large goods vehicle like this and carrying a lot of weight, I have to allow braking distance. And I have to say the brakes on these trucks are absolutely fantastic. But there's still a lot of mass to stop. It can be up to 44 tonnes on this configuration. And so
4 miles, take the exit on the left for Bedford.
So I need to allow lots of braking distance, mainly to protect the vehicle in front. So if you're in busy traffic, I leave my gap between my truck and the car in front. But what you tend to find is when there's lots of traffic on a multi-lane road, you get a lot of cars that just want to change lane all the time, and a lot of car drivers have a sort of instinct that they see a gap, they'll just go in it, they'll just fill that gap, and invariably that gap is my braking distance, it's my braking zone. Now you've potentially cut that in half or less. So if you're pulling into my braking area, into the gap that I've left, not only does it mean I'm right behind you, and that's a hazard for you, but it means for me to re-establish my gap, I then have to drop off. And why should I have to do that? But the worst are the drivers that this particularly occurs when drivers approach their exit too late. They want to get past the truck, so they'll blast past on the the middle lane or the outside lane, and then pull in at the last minute, and then realise they have to hit your brakes, have to hit their brakes, which means you have to perform often an emergency braking manoeuvre. And there are different scales of this, but in the worst instances, you're really having to anchor on your brakes, and it only needs my reaction times to be slightly delayed, or the braking system to be impaired in any way, or the road surface to be slippy, and I'm going to be pushing you along the road. So trust me, pulling in front of a 44-ton truck and then braking is a really, really dangerous and stupid thing to do. Don't do it. Do not do it.
In 1 3/4 miles, take the exit on the left toward Bedford, then head to the roundabout.
Get in the correct lane in plenty of time. Don't take chances around trucks. It's stupid. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, this is aimed at we're discussing what car drivers can do to make it everything safer when they're around trucks on the road, is if I'm on a busy single carriageway road and there's parked vehicles or any other obstacle that I need to pull out and go round, I can't just pull out immediately. Because of my long trailer, I need to allow plenty of room. And that's both when I'm pulling out and pulling back in.
Take the exit on the left toward Bedford, then head to the roundabout.
So if you're in a car and you're coming the other way, and you see a lorry who's pulled out and needs to pull back in, stay far back. Because no end of times I see
Roundabout, take the third exit away from 4280.
car drivers who, they've seen me, they know that I'm there, I've pulled out, and they'll sort of slow down as if to acknowledge that I'm there, but they carry on moving. towards me, eliminating the space I need to keep wide before I pull back in. And I don't understand why they do it.
At the roundabout, take the first exit to A4280.
I can't just snap back in after I've passed a parked car, because my trailer will wipe that car out. I have to go nice and wide and pull gently back in. So if you're taking my space,
At the roundabout, take the second exit.
I can't do it. So in the the worst case scenario, I'm going to have to ask you to reverse. So if you're driving towards a truck on the other side of the road that's pulling out and pulling back in, give it plenty of space. Don't keep moving, because you're taking up the space that truck needs. And then I think the final thing I wanted to mention in this similar vein, talking about cars and being safe around trucks, is this applies to scenarios when truck drivers have to reverse into a delivery point from the main road. So instead of turning off the main road, we have to reverse into it. Now, admittedly, it can be tricky for
At the roundabout, take the second exit to Golding Road.
car drivers to work out what the truck's intentions are, because there's not really a way of, we can put our indicators on, our hazards on, but you can't necessarily tell where we're trying to go. So for that reason, if you see a truck slow down,
Take the second exit.
put its hazards on, or indicate and you're not sure what it's trying to do, hang back. Because, and this cycles back to the very first point that I made, which was about the blind spots. So if that driver has lined up to do the reverse and you have followed behind and hung back in that blind spot, he or she may well start reversing and just wipe you out, not knowing that you're there, because you're invisible. And whilst truck drivers obviously have to use all their, their observation, all the information available to them, it's usually not practical to stop the truck in the middle of the road, open the cab, walk along the road to ensure that nobody's pulled up behind.
At the roundabout, take the second exit to Golding Road.
So if you're unsure, or even if you are sure, hang back and have a look at the places around you. Does it look like somewhere where a truck might reverse into? Sometimes we have to reverse into very tight spots, sometimes off a main road. That's just the job. Bloody hell.
At the roundabout, take the second exit.
So that's that really, and that's nothing to do with being patronising. I mean, I'm a car driver and motorcyclist as well, obviously. So I see it from, well, it's not obvious, motorcyclist I suppose, but it's obvious that a car driver.
At the roundabout, take the second exit to Golding Road.
So I see it from both sides. I suppose it's, since driving a truck, only driving them do you become fully aware of what it's like. It's a funny little roundabout this is.
At the roundabout, take the first exit to Golding Road.
Now where I'm going now is not that sort of place where I have to reverse off the road. It's
In 1.5 miles, turn right onto Harbour Street.
Thank you. You have to be a bit bullish in occasions like that, because otherwise you'll just sit there all day. Yeah, so the place I'm going to, it's a yard that I'll drive into and then reverse onto a bay. Fairly tight yard actually, but it's okay. But yeah, we're driving through Bedford city centre. Is it a city? No, it's a town, isn't it? Bedford town centre. Again, that's another funny block of flats, isn't it? This tower looks sort of out of place. Weird. Funny place, Bedford. I don't like it or dislike it. I can't work it out. You know, some towns have a distinct feel. Bedford to me seems like a sort of bit of a mishmash. I can't put my finger on it. I can't decide whether I like the place or not. I like everywhere when it's sunny like this. I'll open a window a bit, turn the blower fan down a bit. I do normally have a window open all the time, all year round. It's just because I like that constant fresh air. Keep the air circulating. Obviously the reason I've been having it shut on the dual carriageway is because the draft noise it creates on the camera. When you get trees shaped like that, I've always wondered whether it's the vehicles clipping them that cuts them that size and shape, or whether the council actually comes by and does it. To this day I don't know the answer. If anybody does, let me know in the comments. Clipping vegetation is it's an inevitability when driving a large goods vehicle. As I mentioned, these trucks have the mirrors instead of have cameras instead of mirrors. Obviously mirrors, you can catch them on anything. These cameras, the main cameras, are on little arms that are sort of high up above the door here, and to prevent damage, the arms fold in and they're on springs, very soft springs. So your near side, your passenger side mirror, if you've got any leaves or whatever overhanging, it can flip and fold back, and then of course you can't see anything. There is a button that's supposed to fold it back out, but they never work. I think on every truck I've driven except one, it's been broken. And, which means you have to pull over and literally stick your arm out the window and reset it, put the camera back in place. But pulling over becomes more difficult because you've got no camera with which to do it. I say they're softly sprung, they're not sprung at all. In fact, if they were sprung, it would probably be better. They sprung back into place. No, they're just held in place on like a détente. Is that the word? So they sort of lightly click into place. I suppose the détente wears down after some time. So yes, Bedford, what is it? I know it's got an incredibly high Italian population.
Turn right onto Harbour Street, then take the second left.
Like unusually high, and it's estimated that I think a fifth of Bedford people are of Italian descent. I suspect the figure's actually a bit higher than that. The reason for that is that Bedford was one of the, I'm going to say few things it's known for, it was the home of the London brickworks, and to staff those brickworks, a lot of immigrant labour was brought in from southern Italy. And of course, stayed in the area, settled in the area, stayed in the area. I believe those buildings on the left and straight ahead, that's London brick, that's sort of pale colour. I think so. Certainly there's a lot of buildings in London that have that colour brick. Greatest place to stop taxi. Could get around him, but I'm going to just play it safe now. We're not in a rush. What are you doing, you mad bastard? Fucking hell, state of him. Town centre Lidl, what's that all about? So yeah, I was talking about not being able to make out Bedford. Part of that, I think, is the architecture. There's a real mixture. There doesn't seem to be a consistent style. I know that's the case in a lot of British towns and cities. There's a statue there. I don't know who that is. Well, I do know when you enter Bedford, there's a sign that says, "Welcome to Bedford, John Bunyan country." I've no idea who John Bunyan is. I wonder if he's the guy on this statue. Don't know.
Turn right on the traffic light, then take the second left.
John Bunyan. Imagine he's some kind of artist or poet. So yes, Bedford is known for John Bunyan, whoever he is. Lots of Italians, London brickwork, and a river goes through the middle of it. Can't remember which one. Might be the Great Ouse. It's actually quite pretty down by the river. It always is though, isn't it? Towns that have a decent river running through them, it's always nice. Something nice about being beside a half substantial body of water, isn't it? Oh, this is a slightly tight one.
Turn left at the traffic light.
The flower pot. Whiskey Records. Right, I now have to come right out here to avoid that traffic light pole. Hopefully that traffic has moved. Oh, there we go.
Take the second exit.
Yeah, I came this way for the first time last week, I think. It's my sat-nav's flavour of the month, this particular route through Bedford. It does vary. Changes its mind sometimes. I quite enjoy a bit of town centre action in the truck.
Take the second exit to Clapham Road.
Keeps it a bit interesting. And we're not far away now. The place where I'm going to is up in an area of Bedford called Brick Hill, which I don't think actually is where the brickworks were. But it's very much a hill in a town that is not that hilly. It's a funny junction this is. Why is it shaped like that? Yep, just made it round. And this place I'm going to is near a complex that's called Bedford Heights. Now, when I first saw this place, it sort of piqued my interest because it's weird. It's clearly an unusual building,
Take the third exit.
and it's been divided up into sort of various businesses and I don't know, a conference centre and other bits and bobs. But it was quite obvious that it was a former. It used to belong to one big company, and a company that had lots of money in the 60s or 70s. So having researched it, it turns out it was the former UK headquarters of Texas Instruments.
At the roundabout, take the third exit to Mattingly.
And it was not just offices, it was actually a manufacturing plant as well. And the building, I think, was indeed designed by some Texan architect or something. It's pretty fascinating. Got that sort of early high-tech charm.
In a quarter of a mile, turn left onto Mattingly.
Rather than drive into my delivery destination, I'm going to say goodbye now. If you'd enjoyed the video, or even if you've not, please do hit like. Please comment, tell me what you enjoyed and or didn't enjoy, what you'd like to see or what you'd like to hear from me about. And questions, suggestions and so on, please subscribe to my channel. Obviously I'm a tiny channel and I'm just trying to get started. Most of all, thank you very much for watching. I shall speak to you again soon. Bye bye.